Every single business, big or small, has something like a central nervous system. It's what manages everything from finance to HR to the supply chain. It's called an ERP. And maybe the biggest decision a company has to make about it is how to set it up. That's exactly what we're going to break down today. When you strip everything away, it all comes down to this one question. Does your business need its own custom-built brain, or is it smarter to rent a space in a state-of-the-art supercomputer? This is the core dilemma we're going to get into. The ultimate trade-off between having total control versus having ultimate convenience. So to figure this out, you've basically got three different paths you can take. We're going to look at on-premise, we're going to look at the cloud, and then we'll check out the one that mixes them together, the hybrid model. Each one has its own map, its own challenges, and for sure, its own rewards. All right, let's start with path number one. I want you to imagine your business is a kingdom, and all your data, your customer lists, your financials, that's the crown jewels. Well, in that case, an on-premise ERP is your fortress. You build it on your own land with your own guards and walls that you designed yourself. So what does that actually mean? It means everything. The software, the servers running it, the security systems, it's all physically located right there in your building. Your IT team is responsible for every single bit of it. The maintenance, the security, keeping the lights on, you own it, from the basement server room all the way to the top. And this is where you really see the trade-off. On one hand, you get absolute maximum protection and control. Your data is locked down tight, you can customize the system to do literally anything you want, and if the internet goes down, no problem, you're still running. But, and it's a big but, building that fortress is a heavy lift. We're talking a huge upfront cost, a constant maintenance burden for your team, and if you want to scale up, you can't just click a button, you have to go out and buy a lot more stone and mortar. So, who would actually do this? Well, think about a big manufacturing company. Maybe they have super secret proprietary production processes. They need total control over that data, and they need to build custom workflows that nobody else has. For them, building a fortress isn't just a choice, it's an absolute necessity. Okay, now let's flip the script and look at a completely different way of thinking. If on-premise is that fortress you build yourself, then cloud ERP is like renting the penthouse suite in a brand new high-tech skyscraper. You get all the amazing views and modern amenities, but you didn't have to lay a single brick. The key difference here is ownership. With a cloud ERP, you don't own any of the infrastructure. A special company, the vendor, hosts all the software on their own powerful servers, and your team just logs in over the internet. They handle the security, the updates, the maintenance, all of it. You just pay a subscription fee, kind of like rent. And the pros and cons here, well, they're pretty much the mirror image of the fortress. It's way more affordable to get started. You can be up and running incredibly fast, and you can scale your business up or down with just a click. So what's the catch? Well, you are completely dependent on your internet connection. You're also putting a lot of trust in a third party to keep your data safe, and you just don't get the same freedom to customize everything. You can see why this is perfect for a company that needs to move fast, right? An e-commerce startup needs to pour all its energy into growing the business, not managing a server room. The cloud gives them access to world-class tools and lets them scale up instantly, all on a startup's budget. It lets them play in the big leagues. So, we've seen the fortress, and we've seen the skyscraper. But what if you need the security of a bank vault, but you also want the flexibility of a modern, open-plan office? That's where our third path comes in. Think of a hybrid ERP as a bridge that connects the best of both of those worlds. The idea here is actually pretty simple, but it's really powerful. A hybrid model basically lets you mix and match. You can keep your most important, most sensitive systems, like your crown jewels, safe inside your on-premise fortress, while using flexible and affordable cloud apps for other parts of the business, like HR or project management. What you get is this amazing balance. You seriously reduce your risk by keeping critical data locked down on site, but you get all the cost savings and flexibility of the cloud where it makes the most sense. Now, the main challenge? That bridge needs upkeep. Getting two different environments to talk to each other can be complex, and it definitely means more management work for your IT team. A hospital or a clinic is a perfect real-world example. They have a legal duty to protect sensitive patient data, so that stuff has to stay in their on-premise fortress to meet compliance rules. But for something like managing employee schedules or HR paperwork, a flexible cloud app is the perfect, cost-effective tool for the job. That's the hybrid model working at its absolute best. All right, we've walked all three paths. Now it's time to put them side by side for the final showdown. Let's see how they really stack up against each other on the features that matter most. This is where the choice really starts to become clear. Just a quick look at this chart tells the whole story. On-premise is the king of customization and internal security, but it's going to cost you a lot up front and it's hard to scale. Cloud is the complete opposite. Low cost, super scalable, but you're tied to the internet and you're handing over some control. And hybrid, it sits right there in the middle, giving you a moderate, balanced option for pretty much everything. So if you're going to remember just one thing about on-premise, it's this. It is all about control. Absolute total control over your data, your hardware, and your processes. And for the cloud, the word you have to remember is convenience. It's all about speed, flexibility, and letting somebody else handle the messy, complex stuff so you can just focus on your business. And finally, hybrid. That's the smart combination. It's for businesses that want to be strategic, to carefully pick and choose, getting the security of the fortress and the agility of the skyscraper. And that brings us right back to the beginning, to that one big choice. When it comes to your company's brain, what do you really need? The ironclad control of the fortress? The incredible flexibility of the skyscraper? Or the smart, balanced approach of the bridge? The right answer? Well, that's going to depend entirely on your strategy, your industry, and where you want to go.